Hey, so yes, I saw Deep Water just now. And as I said in my short, I'm in a different environment, as you can tell, not my couch or in my car. And it's because I'm going to see another movie right after this, but wanted to film my review. And I'll do a quick summary again for those that did not go to my short. So, going into this movie, I understood that there was an airline crash that happens in the middle of the ocean, and the surviving passengers end up getting terrorized by these various sharks, and they have to survive, I guess, until they're rescued. And so this is a horror slash disaster movie, and what a ride. So I'm Shay, and then I'm going to get into the full spoiler free review. So this movie was very, very intense, and it was one that the actors and actresses that they had were very diverse. I mean, you get that when it comes to flights, international flights. You get a combination of people of all different personalities, and you have some people that are jerks, and then you have some people that are anxious, and you have some people that are shy, and then you have some people that are very personable. And it's an interesting, I guess, powder keg of people that you can see on the plane. And it was one that when the plane starts crashing, as well as the crash, it was intense. I could not keep my mouth shut. I was like, oh, it was crazy. Some of the deaths that you see, and the like objects are going flying, and just like some of the impacts were very, very stressful. I was like, oh. And then same with the some of the shark kills. Those were crazy. And it's a movie that you think, there's sometimes where you think someone's going to be dragged down, and then there's other times that and they don't, and then there's other times that you think they're going to make it and they get dragged down. And the way it ended, like, as I was watching this movie, I was really expecting, I had a mental expectation of kind of, there's some characters in the movie that I was waiting to get an answer on. And so that's one thing I will say, is that don't be surprised if you don't find out an answer for some of the characters, because there were some of the characters that I was expecting, like it was like in limbo. It's like, okay, well, we saw this person, like what happened? So that was one thing that it's kind of like, I wish that we got closure for for everyone that at least survived the plane crash, but you just can't. And it's one that after the plane crashes, I really like the way that how people reacted was done in a way that you would see those reactions from a plane crash. The special effects, and I mean, it's one of those movies that, like, the sound is a huge aspect of it. And while I was watching the movie, I guess mentally, I didn't realize that there were multiple sharks. So I thought it was just one shark. And I'm like, how can this one shark be killing all these people? But it was actually a whole bunch of sharks. And it's a movie that is a fight for survival, and how staying calm and working together is absolutely critical to survive. I mean, I cried, I laughed. There are funny parts. There's parts that I laughed that it's like one of those things that it's like either you're gonna laugh or then you're gonna cry. And, there were some really emotional parts, and there's emotional scenes like, it's one of those movies you expect the emotional scenes to happen like later on in the movie, but there were really emotional scenes that happened fairly early on in the movie that like tugged your heartstrings. Um, and, it's people, overcoming, hurdles. Like you have a mixed family, and, you have an introvert that, you've got nerds, you've got jocks, you've got, you know, so many different people. And then, of course, like I was saying earlier, you have the jerk. Um, and, this is a movie that you're going to jump. It is very stressful. I caught myself holding my breath at times because I was so stressed out. And actually, there was someone leaving the theater, and I heard her say, like, finally, we have, like, a killer shark movie. And this was a really well done killer shark movie. It was a really great combination. I mean, most of the time when you see, like, the stranded movies are when someone's on like a boat and they go scuba diving and they end up being stuck in the water. This was a very different direction because you have this flight, and it was one of those that, like, the series of events that led up to the plane crash was very aggravating. At least for me, I was very aggravated, and I could not help but go like, it's like the importance of checks and things like that when it comes to like a flight, and overall, and how important it is not to skip things, and important it is to be paying attention. And that's for a whole bunch of different areas, communication and following commands and things like that. It was a good movie. Man, the like crash and like the actual, like, as the plane was going down and then the impact, there were plenty of things that reminded me of Final Destination. Like with the plane, like there were so many things that reminded me of Final Destination. And this is an edge of your seat movie, and this is a movie, like, people didn't clap after it, but I could tell that people really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I was locked in. So this is a movie that I would definitely recommend, and it's one that I think people should see in theaters because you're not going to get the same experience that you would, like the experience that you're going to get watching in theaters compared to watching at home is going to be very different, because when you're there with other people, it's just it feels different. I describe it as it's a way to connect without actually verbally connecting with others, because there's times that you might laugh or you might make a comment without even like a gasp or something, and other people will respond in their own way to that. But overall, it was not a disappointing movie. It was very satisfying, but it was also very unsatisfying. The way it ended was not at all what I expected, and I expected there to be a little bit more. So yeah, but overall, it was a good movie. The acting is great, the special effects, the movie makeup, the CGI, like all of it was really, really great. And like the underwater aspects were really, really interesting as well. And I think that's everything I can say without spoiling anything. Thank you so much. As always, I always thank everybody that actually listens or watches my videos. Even if you only watch for a couple minutes, I'm very, very appreciative. I always thank people. I'm very grateful for every single view. If you liked my review, and you have something to say, a comment, things. If you liked it, if there was something you liked about the movie, please comment below. If you're enjoying my content, and you want to be notified of when I upload new content, you can hit the subscribe button and you can turn on notifications. You have a couple different options. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps my channel as well. And but even if you don't subscribe, I'm just appreciative of everyone that actually takes the time to listen or watch my content. It means the world. I absolutely just love watching movies. So I think that is going to be it. And until the next one, which will be in a couple hours. So thanks so much. Bye.